Hi folks, I'm Sean McCormick. Welcome to the channel. So here we are with another Getting Started with Lightroom Classic 10 video, and we're going to talk about selection methods inside of Lightroom. Hi folks, I've been busy writing articles and stuff like that, but we're just back in the series again. So we're going to look at selection methods. Now by selection methods, I mean ways of comparing images against themselves and saying, this image I prefer to this image, and just letting you know in metadata that you prefer them. Now we're not going to the process of showing you what makes an image good or bad, we're just talking about how you can mark it. So there are three main ones in Lightroom, and we can see here that we have them at the bottom of the toolbar. Press T for toolbar. If you don't see it, let me make sure we're alive here. T for toolbar. Right, and then you see these at the bottom, and these are flags, ratings, and labels. So flags are basically a three-way system. They're a yes, no, maybe system. Okay, they have shortcuts: P for flag, U for remove flag or unflagged, and X for rejected. And I'm just going to press U again, so it's gone. So what we can also see is that if we look here, we see in the cells. You see it in the cells. So if I click that, it'll flag it. If I click it again, it'll unflag it. If I hold down Option or Alt and I click it, it will reject it, just so you know that. So basically the idea with this is that it just allows you to say yes, 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 yes really quickly. All right. The issue is that it doesn't let you compare images against each other, and the only one of these three systems that is stored universally inside metadata that is readable by lots of programs is ratings, so flags is not. They were trying to get it in that, and I think it would be a good idea, but currently no, it's not. All right. It's a great system for making quick selections just to get through and know that you want an image really, really quickly. All right. And one thing I'm going to say as well in advance here is that you can combine all three. You're not limited to just using one. You can use any combination of stars, labels, and flags if you want. You know, so that way you can like really narrow it down. So you could have, say, all of these images that you know are your 5-star images, but you really like the one that's there in with the red, or the one that has a pick. And then you're using the labels like red and green to say needs to be edited and is edited. Okay, so those are just examples of use. So with the great thing about star ratings is that you've got full access to everything. Oh yeah, one thing I will say about star ratings and about labels is that you're stuck with using dedicated keys you can't toggle. But you can toggle keys, which we will see in a minute with labels. But with ratings, you can use 1 to 5 or 0 to 5 to be precise, because when you click 0, it takes away the rating. All right. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see that these bezels are showing exactly what you've just pressed. And that's obviously the same for PUX. You could see that when we were doing that. Oh, I pressed C by accident there instead of for compare instead of X. So we can see here that they've all shown up here. So press U, that goes, press 0, and we'll see they go. All right. So we can also see that they're available in the cells again as well. So you can drag across here with the ratings. The great thing about ratings is that you can have sets of liked images. So your 1-star images could be the images that you think you don't want to delete. And then 2-star images can be the ones that you think are really good from that set. And then 3-star images these are the best ones to show the clients. And then 4 and 5 could be what the client really likes. And then the ones that you're editing for the client, for example. Or it could just be a way of you know, just having a graduation of likes. It's not a good idea to just randomly give loads of images 5 stars, because then you're wasting the use of 5 stars, because you could just use picks for exactly that rather than using stars. The last thing we're going to talk about is labels. So labels are literally color labels, and the way they appear around an image is that you literally get the color showing up around the image. So if we click on red, do we have a filter? We have a filter turned on there by accident, sorry. So we can see here that the cell actually gets a color as we start to put it on. When the cell is not selected, you only see that, or the cell is selected, you see the border. When it's not selected, it's the whole cell gets the color. All right. Now these do have shortcuts as well, but not all of them. So you have 4, 5, 6, and 7, which will give you so 4. Sorry, it's not 5. Sorry, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 6 will give you the red label. Now, if you probably saw that flash up in the bezel, if I press 6 again, it takes it away. So the great thing about labels is that they're toggleable. So if you're using them to make selections, you can turn them on and off from the same key, which can make for faster selections if you're using the arrow keys. So you can be using the arrow keys, and then you can be using labels to go through really quickly. And if you make a mistake, you just press the same key again to get rid of it. Whereas if you do that with like a rating or with a flag, you got to go to a different key, so it can be slower. So like I said, 6, 7, 8, and 9 will give you the red, yellow, green, and blue. But then there's nothing for purple. Purple has to be clicked to be turned on. Basically, you can't actually use a shortcut for it. It's a little bit of a downside. The other thing that's kind of a downside is that it could be an upside if you consider it as well. Is that if we look at metadata, we can see that with color label sets that were set on Lightroom default, but there's also bridge default. If you want bridge to be able to read these, you need to use bridge default, and then when you save to XMP, these labels will be readable by bridge and by Lightroom when this is set. But you can also create your own, like here's one like called review status. And if we click edit, we can see what these look like. Okay, so review status shows these as to delete, color correction needed, good to use. And we can see that, see the way the colors went away in the background there? That's because this is a different label set that doesn't apply the same way. So we go back to Lightroom default, should really show them. Bridge default, Lightroom default, change. Okay, that could be my bad there. I think I turned it off and that's what happened there. Again, it's after hiding. That's what's after going on there. All right. I don't know why it's jumping to that particular filter. That's rather annoying. So let me go back to bridge default. So we can see here, it's hidden them. That's what's happening there. It's just jumping on a custom filter for some reason. Okay. So let me just stick this here, and I'm going to stick this as 6 on this. And now we are going to jump back here to our Lightroom default set. And turn this back on. I don't know why it does that. Okay, it's just doing that. So we can see here that it's that color that we had on that is gone. All right. So they do label differently as well. So just a heads up on that. Generally speaking, I just stick it on Lightroom default and leave it like that. It's a bit messy, you know, so it's just easier just to use the basic one, and then you know that it's going to be the same all the time. You're not going to get confused by sets changing. All right. So the advice really is stick to the one. Now, like we've seen here, if you wanted, you could have, let's say we don't have this as selected as well. All right. So you can have, using the filter, you can go, I want selected images. Well, actually, you know what? Let's put in a couple of more selects here, just so that way we can actually make use of what's going on. So I want to see my flagged images, but I want them to be 1 star and higher, and I want them to be purple. All right. So that will just filter down and let you filter down even more. If this is hidden, that's showing because stuff is selected. If I get rid of all of this and I click that down, it'll close the whole way down. This is the way it is at the beginning when Lightroom opens first, or when you reset preferences. You click on that to open it, and then you can use those filters there. Okay, so the idea is that you have different ways of making selections. It's probably better to use one general one. So I use ratings because the metadata ratings will be read by Photoshop and by most other programs on one. I think Exposure will do it, and I think that Luminar will read stars as well from XMP, because they're a universal standard for making selections. So I highly recommend using ratings the most. It also gives you the comparison aspect, which is really, really good. But I still use, I will use red labels inside a set. Let's say I've gone through and I've got 5-star images by whittling down images. Sometimes I will stick on the ones I'm going to edit. I will stick a red one, like a red label. Just that way, when I want to filter really quickly, I can just filter by red instead of having to just filter by 5 stars. Because I might have, say, like there might be 5 images, but I'm only going to edit 1. Or we've got it down and the client is paying for 1 image, even though they picked 5, and this is the one that they want edited. So that's basically why. So folks, if you found it useful, do give it a like, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and thanks for watching. Working towards, obviously, the magic 10K, so please, if you could subscribe, it would be a great help. Thanks a million, much appreciated.